It's been 10 years, but I still hear the sound of his voice sometimes, like he's still calling me, still trying to drag me back to that place. I've told this story to a few people, but I always stop halfway. It's hard to finish it. The memories are too heavy, too raw. But I'm tired of hiding from it. Maybe if I tell it, I can finally leave it behind. Maybe. This happened when I was just a child, maybe 7 or 8 years old. I lived in a small village in the heart of West Africa, not too far from the forest. The village was quiet, mostly, except for the whispers people shared about certain families. Mine wasn't different. We had our own dark secret. My father wasn't like the other men in the village. He didn't laugh like them, or talk much. He was always serious, always cold. People said he was cursed. Said he made deals with spirits, dark ones. I didn't understand back then, but I knew there was something off about him. Something in his eyes that made me want to hide when he looked at me. One evening, after my mother had died, things changed. I woke up in the middle of the night to my father's voice calling my name from the back of the house. The voice was different, low, almost like a growl. I got out of bed, thinking I'd misunderstood, but when I walked down the hall, I saw him standing in the doorway to the dark part of the house, where no one ever went. "Come, child," he said. "Come to me." I froze. His voice wasn't right. It was deeper, rougher. My heart started to beat in my chest like it wanted to escape. But I didn't dare speak. I didn't dare move. He looked at me, those eyes, wide and empty, like a dead man looking through you. "Don't be afraid," he said, his voice suddenly soft. "I need you. Come." I knew I shouldn't. I knew something was wrong. But I couldn't move. My feet wouldn't walk. Then, like a dream I couldn't wake from, I found myself walking toward him. As I reached him, he smiled, but it wasn't a real smile. It was twisted, crooked, like he was happy to see something broken. "Good," he whispered. "You're ready." He turned, and I followed, though every inch of me screamed to run. He led me out the back door, into the yard, and then into the forest. It was dark, too dark for me to see anything but his shadow in front of me. He didn't say anything else, but I knew this was no simple walk. This was something else. As we went deeper into the trees, I started hearing whispers. They were soft at first, like the wind, but then they grew louder, closer. I didn't recognize the words, but I felt the weight of them. They were calling me, pulling me deeper into the forest. I wanted to scream, to beg him to stop, but I couldn't. I couldn't make a sound. We reached a clearing, where there was an old stone circle, some kind of ruin, with carvings all over the rocks. My father stopped and turned to me, his face now pale, his eyes almost glowing in the dark. "This is it," he said, his voice cold. "I've waited for this moment." "You've waited, too." I didn't know what he meant. I didn't understand. But as I stood there, shivering, something started to change. The air grew heavy, thick with heat, and I could feel the ground vibrating beneath my feet. The whispers became clear. "He's here. She's here. He has come for you, I looked around. There was nothing. Just shadows. But I could feel them, something watching, something waiting. Suddenly, my father knelt down in front of me, grabbing my shoulders with a strength I didn't know he had. He pulled me close, and I could feel his breath on my skin. It smelled wrong, like rot. "You will help me, he whispered, and the words felt like they were burning my ears. "You will bring her to me, Then, without warning, he pushed me forward, and I stumbled. The next thing I remember is falling into the circle of stones, the ground cold and hard against my skin. I tried to get up, but something grabbed me, something invisible but strong, pulling me down. Help! I screamed, but my voice was gone. No sound came out. I was stuck, trapped, as the whispers grew louder, closer. The trees around me seemed to bend, twisting like they were alive. And then, in the middle of it all, I saw her. A woman, standing in the center of the stone circle. Her skin was black, but there was a glow to her, like moonlight. She was tall, too tall, with eyes that shone like the stars. And she was staring at me. My father stood behind me, watching, a cruel smile on his face. Asterisk, she's the one, asterisk, he said, his voice echoing strangely. The woman reached out, and I tried to pull away, but I couldn't move. Her hand brushed my cheek, cold like ice. And in that moment, I understood. I understood what my father had been doing. What he had been trying to do. He had made a deal with something dark, something powerful. He had promised me his own child, a way to whatever that was. And now, I was going to become part of it. I don't remember what happened after that. The next thing I knew, I was waking up in my bed, with the sun shining through the window like nothing had happened. My father was gone. My house was normal again. But I wasn't the same. I heard whispers at night. I saw shadows move in the corners of rooms. And sometimes, when I look into the mirror, I see her eyes staring back at me, those glowing eyes. They are still there, still watching, like they know I'm not truly free. And my father? He never came back. Some say he's still out there, roaming the forest, waiting for another soul to make a deal with. But I know the truth. He's still calling to me. Still waiting for me to return. That's the thing. In the end, once you make a deal with the dark, it never lets go. It follows you. It changes you. I still hear his voice, sometimes. I'm not sure if it's real, or if I'm just losing my mind. But I can't ignore it anymore. It's getting louder. I think he's calling me back. And this time, I might not be able to run.